Their fight week for the UFC. You went through this whole process to get to this point. What's going through your mind right now, just a few days away from making this walk on a massive card like this?
Just enjoying the process, trying to, when you've been here and then you've been released from the promotion, you know that all of this is fleeting. It can go away at any time. And so just trying to enjoy it, I'm 35 years old, 7, 8 years from now, there's no way I'm going to be here. 5 years from now, there's probably no way I'm going to be here. So trying to enjoy it while it lasts and just have fun with it, Put in the longest camp I've ever had for this fight. Usually fighters aren't given this much time notice for when they're going to fight. So try to take advantage of that and just proud of the work we put in and ready to cash in the chips, so to speak.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that because you were the last guy to earn a spot on the show because your semifinal match didn't air until last night. How wild has this experience been, knowing filming wrapped for a while, you've been kind of getting ready for this, but then you have to keep this to yourself that you were in the finals the whole time?
It's been really hard. I'm not the kind of person who's very good at not being real with people. If I like you, you're gonna know I like you. If I don't like you, you'll probably know that too. And so having to kind of be conspicuous with people and weird and just it's been weird too because people at the gym and stuff, random guys you train with, will be like, "How'd you do?" And I'm like, "Oh, I can't tell you," And most people have been cool with it, but a few people kind of get offended, "What do you mean you can't tell me? We're training partners," And sorry, man, I like you, but I don't like you that much, So it's been weird. So last night when the show aired, it was kind of nice to be like, all right, I don't have to watch my P's and Q's on what I say anymore. So it's been good.
Obviously, the fight aired last night, and I'm sure as a fellow fighter, seeing Rico slip and you pounced on him, obviously, as you're supposed to do, but for someone in the condition you were in, you had the knee injury heading into the fight as well. When he fell down and you had the chance to pounce, I mean, you'll take it, right? Even though you were doing pretty well to that point. How did it feel being in there, seeing Rico kind of go down like that, and you just being able to pounce on that opportunity?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to get the fight on the ground. I switched my stance for that fight and kept my toes pointed in like a boxer because I didn't want to get kicked on the inside of my leg where my MCL was torn. And so I knew I was going to eat outside leg kicks, and I said, when he throws them, I can't check these kicks because of the way I'm standing, so I'm just going to go with it, let my leg kind of go. And if I eat a few, I eat a few, but I'm going to get this fight to the ground where I knew I would have an advantage. And luckily for me, he tried a switch stance, jab kind of thing or something. I don't know what he did, but yeah, I just grabbed his back real quick. What's funny is that I'm similarly sized to Aljamain, height, width-wise, and, we've been kind of friends ever since we fought 8.5 years ago, trained together a few times. He came and stayed with me and met my family and stuff, kind of traveled up and down California, and that was 8 years ago, but the human backpack is what he calls it, but getting that body triangle from the back, it's a difficult position to get out of. You can do a lot of damage from that position as you kind of transition from mount to back control, mount to back control. And, yeah, I was just able to capitalize on it. I think I would have been able to get Rico down either way. But, yeah, he definitely made it easier slipping. And it was a little weird how he kind of reacted and the kind of tantrum he threw afterwards. I mean, I understood it, but at the same time, it's not like he, fell into a choke and that was it. You had another 4 minutes to get out of that position. You couldn't do that. And, yeah, man, that's the way this game goes sometimes.
And last thing for me, you're going to fight Brad Katona, who, if anybody watched the show, doesn't seem like he made a lot of friends this season on the program. So how do you like the matchup, and do you feel like the rest of the cast is kind of pulling for you in this fight, considering how a lot of them felt about Brad?
I mean, Brad, I tried to give him the benefit of the doubt early on in the show. He was my roommate. But there were just things he did that were very self-centered, that hurt other people and benefited him. And the editing of the show didn't necessarily go into all that stuff. So there's some context missing in some of the stuff. But, yeah, he's not my favorite guy, But at the end of the day, I studied his film. I studied his movement. We looked at areas we can exploit. I don't really take too much emotion into the fight. I've learned that lesson over 15 years of doing this. And so, yeah, I'm not going to have any issues or reservations punching him in the face for sure. But it's just another opponent. And what's interesting, he actually showed some heart in his semifinals fight. He bit down on his mouthpiece. That was a great fight. I actually thought he lost that fight, but it was a close fight. But, you know, he showed that he can fight when he's forced to. But if you go back and watch his film, man, it was one of the most boring film studies I've ever seen. He just holds guys against the cage, eventually tries to drag him to the ground and then hold him. He's not trying to do a lot of damage. He's trying to kill time on the clock. I think personally that's why he was cut from the UFC originally. He's just not the most exciting guy. He's very calculated. You know, I respect the fact that he's good at what he does, but I think he's going to have a hard time dragging me to the ground. I think he's going to have a hard time dealing with my length, and I see myself landing something clean and putting him away and starting off the ESPN portion of this prelims with an explosive fight, with a fun fight, and with a spectacular finish.
Cody, over here to your right. You guys trained together. You were on the same team for a little bit on the show. Did you guys, I mean, how much were you able to take away from those experiences?
Brad didn't train with us. Brad trained the first day with me. He was my training partner. He got a scratch on his chin, and that was the last time he ever trained with us. He hit mitts, and he did cardio. So I didn't train with him too much. He didn't train with any of us too much. And maybe that was strategic. He didn't want to, you know, mix it up with guys that he could potentially fight, or maybe that's just the way he trains. I'm not sure, but yeah, I didn't get a whole lot of movement with him. Literally the first day of the show, he was my training partner for some drills, and then that was it. So yeah, man, we'll figure it out when we get in there.
And the knee injury was referenced earlier. That was a big part of your story on the show. It was talked about numerous times. The filming of that show, of your show, only ended like a few months ago. So is that something that you're still kind of dealing with? And if so, is it weird, like going into a fight with your opponent in the world, kind of knowing that you have something that's maybe not 100%?
Oh, no. You know, luckily the UFC, the stem cells they gave me really helped. Got me through that, not only that fight, but I think also as far as recovery afterwards. And we went home after the fight, did about 3 months of extensive physical therapy every day or every couple of days. And my knee's 100% good now. Had a great camp, had no limitations. Somebody asked me the other day which knee you hurt, and it took me a minute to think about it. Like, it's this one, you know, because that's how much I don't feel it anymore. So I'm healthy, had a great training camp. I'm a full-time teacher. So I was able to utilize the fact that we had summer vacation and train full-time. I've only been able to do that a few times in my career when I've had like late summer fights. So this was great. I had a 13-week training camp, 3 times a day. So I got no excuses, man. I'm in the best shape of my life. I feel great. And I'm going into, just have fun. At this point, I'm just proud of the work we did. And when you're proud of yourself and the work you've put in, you don't have to think about or worry about the results so much. You're going to be proud of yourself no matter what happens on Saturday night. But definitely intend to not only just win this show and beat Brad Katona and get a spectacular finish, but really announce my presence to the bantamweight division. If you look at go to my SureDog or my Tapology, I've fought some of the best guys in this weight class already. Not only the champion, but also John Dotson, Ray Borg, Francisco Rivera. I've been fighting a murderer's row, you know, and so I'm not looking to win this fight and get cast onto the bottom of a prelim against some contender series guy. I'm looking for names. I'm looking for challenges, and that's the statement I'm trying to make on Saturday night.
Cody, over here to your left. Just one question for me. Obviously, this is now your second stint in the UFC. What did you learn in your first stint that's going to make you more successful now so you can make that run up the rankings like you want to?
I think at the end of the day for me, and you kind of saw this on the first episode or my quarterfinal fight episode, it's just confidence, you know? When you're not truly confident in yourself, you might be on the exterior, you might have confidence like everybody has, but when you don't really believe in yourself, it's hard to have success, at least at this level. And so for me, this whole 8.5 years since I've been in the UFC, if you look at most of the guys that were on the show, you know, they were a year removed from the UFC, maybe 2 years removed from the UFC. I was the one guy who was like kind of the ugly duckling, man. It's been a long time for me. And in that time, it's forged me and helped me grow as a man and a person and develop me. And I have confidence now. I know who I am. I know what I'm about. I know what I represent. And that's going to be the biggest difference you see from me in the cage and in this second stint in the UFC.
Cody, over here to your right. Just wondering, did you see Mike's tweets last night saying that he's going to be in Boston and that he also thinks you'll find the finish? And if you did, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I talked to Mike 2 days ago. He gave me a call. We've stayed in touch throughout the, you know, after the show. Yeah, it's great. It's going to be great to have him here. I believe that his opinion, you know, holds weight, and I think that he's right. I think I'm going to find a finish. I think I hit hard. I'm big, and he's gonna have a hard time dealing with me and the pressure I put on him. I don't think Brad truly likes to be in the fire, and I'm going to put him in the fire. So I couldn't agree more.
And then I'm just wondering, did your perception of either coach change at all compared to going into the season, then coming out of the season?
I didn't have much expectations for coaching going into it. Honestly, it's only, you know, you're only filming for 4 or 5 weeks. So what Michael Chandler was able to do for us as far as bringing us together as a team and finding unity there, I don't know how he did it, but he did. So I have a lot of respect for him, you know, more so than I probably anticipated I would have. And then as far as McGregor goes, you know, I had met him a few times. I used to be represented by Paradigm Sports Management back in the day, so we had crossed paths a few times, fought on the same card, actually, when he fought Dustin Poirier in his first fight against DP. So I had been around him a little bit, but definitely got to know him a little bit more. Not my favorite guy, a bit erratic. You're not sure what you're going to get with him. So, yeah, I mean, I think they changed a little bit to some extent, but yeah, just blessed to have the relationship I do with Chandler and all the guys I met, all the coaches I met, Coach Strout, Coach Drysdale. I got places to train all over the world now, and I'll have connections in those places, so just really fortunate for that.